Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I utilize Shootproof for in-person ordering. It's kind of hard for me to do it with the iPad to show it to the camera. You know, when you try to take a picture of a TV screen, it doesn't really come out very well. So I'm just going to show you how I utilize it if I use the laptop, and kind of in the same fashion that I also do for the iPad. Alright, so I just go in, I log in, I do it from the client view perspective so they don't have to see all the other stuff. It's just not as pretty. This way I have it all set up. It's a nice demonstration and flow for them to see their photographs. This is the screen that I show them when I sit down with them, and I just type in my email and I view gallery and if I have a password. Alright, so quite simply it's really straightforward. I just start at the very beginning. It's going to load for a second. It's going to run slower since I'm screen recording. The computer is going to be thinking. Alright, there we go. So as I go along, I will use the favorite function in order to write down different things or to favorite the ones that I want to come back to. And the reason for that is because then I have it stored right there which ones are their favorites. And I just keep scrolling along, click the favorite button at the bottom, and I'm also going to be taking notes. So I'll have this screen face towards them, and I'm just simply using the keypad more than likely, because if we're in a Starbucks or I'm in their home, and I can even do this on Skype because I can screen record the same way. And so a lot of my clients I will talk to, actually majority I will talk to by Skype or phone, and we'll go through and we'll do it just like this. So it's got the file name and the extension right there. It gives me the favorites and also gives an option to share. And so this is a perfect time when I am showing this to them and I'm going through. We get to this one. Oh, they love it. I write down number 3. I favorite it here because it's under my email address, so I can go back and I also have a record of the favorites. But I can also tell them, look, there's a little share button. You're going to have this link, you know, in order to show moms and friends and everything. Go ahead and share it on social media. When you click the share button, it will give them the options of where they can share it. But this way, they're able to view the image. It has a very, does have my watermark on here. I reduced the opacity here. But if you'll notice on the main screen, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's a little bit stronger across the image, but this way you can see it across her chest right here. That's probably not a good example. Let's see, let's do this one with him in the white shirt. Just that way that if they are on the other end of the screen, they can screen cap it. But the reality is, I, to this day, knock on wood, have never had that issue. I haven't had anybody with any problems. Another thing that I will do, I don't know if I believe I have it in this gallery, but as I'm going through, I will add at the end, I will have created in Preveal, especially if, like Kayla, she mentioned to me here that she wanted an album. So I actually sent her an album mock-up of photos in order for her to look separately from here. But if someone had just mentioned canvas and I hadn't worked as quite intimately as I had with her, because she's a photographer as well, that's the girl in these photos, but I would, at the very end of the gallery, whether I'm in person or I'm doing this by Skype or phone, or I just happen to send the link, I really don't recommend just sending the link and letting them choose their images. I really like to talk through with my clients as much as possible, but you know, like I have one client, they go back and forth, they want to talk about it, they want to think about it, but I have all those fees in place, so I am compensated. It gets them to put their feet to the fire, and they still are within their days, but this way I'm protected. But anyway, so that being said, at the end of the gallery, I like to, if I've taken a picture of the image of their wall with the regular standard piece of paper taped, or have them take the picture, which I've done before for follow-up. And you guys will hear me say that a lot. I want you to think about things in your when you're leading up to talking and shooting and doing the in-person ordering session. Listen to what your clients are saying. Are they tipping off that they want an album, or is it a canvas, or whatever it is? And so I had a client previously who, we had done all the in-person ordering, done all the delivering, but I had thrown at the end of her gallery, I had asked her, I said, hey, just go ahead and take a picture of your wall. You don't know what you want to do yet, let's just throw that in there. And at the end of the Shootproof gallery, I was able to upload, make up some wall mock-ups from Preveal. All I had to do was do them in Preveal, save them, email them to myself and upload them here, and that way it's also stored in here for me. So if they say, oh, I really liked that grouping, I don't have to dig through files. Everything is right here. They can go back in, and they can also favorite them as though they're regular photos. Again, that's not going to do anything to Previal. All I did was get the client to take the picture of their wall. I created it in Previal, saved it, and then uploaded it like a regular file to Shootproof. But you can also do that with album displays as well in here in order for them to see a little mock-up, and it's just kind of a little bit extra at the end so they could see some ideas of how a wall grouping would look on the wall as well. And yeah, so that's pretty much how I just walk through with them. Really easy. It's just basically a slideshow one by one, and the goal with this is that we're going to talk about the structure of how many digital files that they get, which prints do they want. So as we go, I'll tell them, but which one are your favorites for digital files? Which ones are your absolute favorites? And then we can pare them down, and that's when I'll try to upsell and ask if they want to add them on or if they want to move those into the prints. With every image, if it's an absolute favorite, then I'll say, well, what is your first thought on this image? Are you feeling this for the wall? Are you feeling this for an album? Or are you just wanting it for print? And so I always lead off with the item that I want to impress upon them first, and for me that's albums. Some other people it's wall galleries, but I am really big fan of albums. But like I was saying earlier, we had another client who had mentioned that she wanted to do wall galleries during the course of the relationship of the transaction, but then when it got to ordering time they didn't have the money. But since I had put it in their gallery link, I had uploaded the Shootproof for their in-person ordering session. When she came back 6 months later, she was like, can I see those again? I didn't have to dig them up. I just went straight to Shootproof, reactivated the gallery, and resent her the link so she could see those images again. I didn't have to worry about bogging down her email or attachments not attaching and filing, opening, and all that kind of stuff. It was all right there, really easy. So that's pretty much how I use Shootproof. I do it the same thing on the iPad. It's not an app. I just go through Shootproof on the browser and I just scroll straight through the favorites here. Now the difference is, I know there's some questions about Uproof. Uproof, you can take the actual pictures, load them into iTunes, put them on the iPad. That is relatively new for me. I've had Shootproof for 2-3 years now. I mean, pretty much since the beginning of when they came out. I heard about them from someone else and jumped right on it because I thought it was a great chance. And but Uproof is relatively new, but you would upload it and you would kind of do it in the same way. Uproof does give you the option to be able to scroll through the images, but it also allows you to take notes right then. That's one thing here, and that's the kind of a feedback I want to provide to Shootproof, is that like when I click on one of these, I can't necessarily type in a notes, and maybe on the backhand I can, but it doesn't look as nice. So one of my feedbacks that I'm providing to them is to see if to make this more of an in-person sales tool, if I can do a little notes section. If I'm the admin, I can, it's only enabled when I sign in under a certain email, and that way we can type in notes. But Uproof has that as well. If you utilize that on iPad only, the one thing I really like about Shootproof is that it's all condensed. There's no loading. Once it's uploaded, it's uploaded. I don't have to worry about, like Previal, you have to move it into a different folder, and Uproof, you have to do it through iTunes, but that's just because of the way the Apple apps are set up. But this also allows me to just upload and scroll through, and you can also project this if you wanted to on the wall and walk through it. And I handwrite notes. It's easier for me because then I can also put little like stars and stuff next to it for me to come back to upsell later, such as if she talked about wall gallery, which she may not necessarily be able to do the wall gallery right then, but 6 months later when I do my random follow-up, which is part of the client workflow, I'm able to ask them, hey, you talked about wall gallery and it was these images, and I can reactivate this link, send it to her, and say, hey, here are the numbers. Did you want to add on that wall gallery with Christmas coming up? And it's just kind of scooping up those little extra sales, and also makes it's really a customer service thing. I'm not too salesy. I just try to tell people, hey, you thought about this, and I was thinking about you the other day, and this is, you had talked about such and such and such and such, so do you want to do that at this time? And it's just a good way to get those sales later. It provides customer service, and I also throw in the little tidbits, like how little Sally like in ballet class and that kind of stuff. But alright, so that's really long-winded, but that's how I utilize Shootproof. Nothing real fancy. I mean, it does it all for you. The only thing is that you have to write your own notes and go through. But if the structure is set up, which a lot of you, the stuff I've already looked at, relatively easy. One of the things that you can do with this is that if the client, say you're doing digital only packages or you have digital plus print, I'm not a fan of the print fulfillment of allowing them to check out. I have the cart turned off. You can let them do it, but I like to hands-on do it for multiple reasons. Is that my session fee is not included, or is included, but I take it ahead of time. So I have to be able to reduce the cost of the collection with that session fee, and I also need to be able to talk to them. So if they're, if I just send them the link and they, or all 4x6s, I didn't have the opportunity to talk to them about what a wall display is, what a wall display would look like. Even if I put it in here, I don't really get to answer those tangible questions that can help move them from one collection to another. Another reason that I don't send the enabled cart is because, and price sheet, is because I like to be able to, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so if I could pull them from one collection to another. So if they favorited 10, but they'd only chosen a collection that had 7, we can talk about, well, hey, the collection here, you get this much more for X amount and you get those files, or here's the a la carte. It just kind of gives me an opportunity to be able to talk to them, to provide a little bit more of a service, and instead of just blindly sending the link. And again, a reason with that too, if I'm in person or I send the link and we do it by Skype and I talk them through it, they're getting more value for their money as well. It's a 15, 20, maybe 30-minute thing when it's by phone or Skype. When we're in person, it's typically longer, about 45 minutes to an hour, but relatively easy. And that was one thing I was going to say, but if you do have someone that's unsure about the digital files that they want, I can send them the link and they can favorite all the digital files that they want with their collection, so then they don't have to sit there and write down all the files again. Alright, so if you guys have any questions, let me know.